We're live.
Welcome to the Fanatical Elz Show, part of the Elz Network. We are a bunch of wild and crazy Cleveland Browns fans, bringing you all the latest in Browns news. Tune in now. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Fanatical Elz. We are a bunch of wild and crazy Browns fans. There's Tony, and there's Steve Gill. I'm John Speakin, and welcome aboard Thursday night. That is the Fanatical Elz Show. And if you're watching us on YouTube or the X or Facebook, you'll see we're asking, will the Browns sweep the Steelers on Sunday? How's everybody doing tonight?
Staying warm.
Yeah. We have Lou's up in the snow belt, and Steve is down in Nashville.
Tennessee, yeah.
Nashville is, what did you say? It's 24?
Oh, it's a balmy 23. Feels like 13. And surprisingly, by Monday, it'll be 63 degrees.
63?
Sounds about right.
Wow.
Yeah, welcome to Nashville.
50. It's supposed to be 50 degrees up here on Monday.
Yeah.
So.
You don't like the weather? Wait a minute. It'll change soon.
It's like that when I was in North Carolina. Yeah.
Now, you've got
North
a foot
Carolina's
of snow.
like that, too.
Lou, you got a foot of snow up there?
Yeah, there's still more coming. Yeah, that
Yeah.
lake effect snow machines just, I had to go my father-in-law's house, check on his cat and everything. He's still in the rehab facility.
Well, we hope that he's getting better.
He is getting better. He's doing better. Good. Yeah. So it was a lot easier for me because I had his Dodge Ram pickup truck, which is a 4-wheel drive vehicle. So I was like, I'm taking that on the road. So that's what I did. I couldn't have been able to get up his driveway without it because it was like a foot of snow. Yeah.
I like the snow. I taught the 1 year up in Mansfield, and we got a lot of snow days. The 1 year we were up there, I was commuting here from Columbus. Here in Columbus, it's just cold. It's very cold, windy. Mm-hmm. Just glad that we're inside. But we got a game to talk about coming up on Sunday with the Steelers. I do want to kind of go back, and I know I've talked to you, Lou, a little bit, and Steve, just to reminisce a little bit about what we saw on Sunday or Monday night. Jameis Winston, Jerry Jeudy, I'm still, that will go down as one of the best Browns performances. The problem is that they lost the game. And I like the fact that these players and how they've been talking about this since that moment, I think they really wanted to win that game. And I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about Hard Knocks. I saw something today with the coaching staff and just wanted your takes on that, but just
I watched it. I watched the first episode.
Yeah. I want your overall impressions about Steve. Let's start with you about Denver. Just your overall outlook about Jerry Jeudy, Winston, and then how that was. Then Lou, I want to follow up with you on that.
Sure.
We got the full Jameis experience.
He certainly did.
For the whole game. I mean, Jerry Jeudy is a number one wide receiver. Okay, let's end that debate. He is a number one wide receiver. Mm-hmm. Elijah Moore, 111 yards receiving. Michael Woods, he looked natural. He looked like he hadn't missed a game. Did you notice how he was constantly knowing where the first down marker was? Constantly knowing where the first, 3rd and 7, he's 8 yards down the field. Okay,
that's what we need.
That's what we need. That's awareness by your wide receivers. 497 yards. I'm sitting there watching it, and even after that last pick six, I looked at the clock and went, "All right, minute 40 something." They go down, and then they're like 40 seconds left. It's first and goal. I'm sitting here thinking, okay. Score here, get the extra point, attempt an onside kick. If it's successful, you probably have 2 plays to get in the field goal range and you can win it. I mean, when was the last time when your quarterback throws 2 pick six, you're still thinking, okay, we can still win this?
Yeah, we still had an opportunity. We still did,
And that's the uniqueness of Jameis Winston. I mean, he's going to throw those picks, but he's also going to just take over a game. My thing is, we all know now that that a healthy Nick Chubb made the offensive line look a ton better because they cannot run the ball with a hurt Nick Chubb. So you get him healthy, you kind of young up the offensive line for next year, and I think they can return to a dominant run game. But they're going to have to figure out some way to run the ball. If you're running the ball effectively, Jameis Winston isn't throwing that much. And if he's not throwing that much, the probability of an interception drops.
Yeah. Yeah. No, good takes. Lou, your thoughts on just the game again, Jerry Jeudy. You think about it, like if he catches that pass, I mean, a lot of what ifs, but if he catches that first pass that Winston overthrew him, I mean, you're looking at maybe Jerry Jeudy having over 300 yards receiving today.
And Jameis having over 500 yards passing.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like 497. So, well, ifs and buts. So, the thing that stuck to me most about that game, I don't know if you listening to Troy Aikman. At all. Did you hear what he said? He says they're not playing like a 3-win football team.
No.
And that's the thing that I'm really liking here is I'm looking at it like, I would have liked to see them win, but what are we looking to build towards next year? Because obviously we're not making the playoffs. So let's be realistic here. I also was hearing things about how, pretty much I think Jameis is going to be our bridge guy for the next 2 years.
Yes. You've talked about that.
Yeah, I think that's what this game does, and I think Jerry Jeudy was a great trade by Andrew Berry, and I think he's going to be our next number one with Tillman, and Elijah Moore could come back as a very affordable third wide receiver free agent, just as much as Chubb could come back too. And there's some guys that can come back that are because we're going to need to because there's going to be a cap hit with Watson. We're not going to release him, but he's going to take up a lot of the cap for the next 2 years after this year. So we're going to have to get creative and bring in lower cost and higher upside players in the meantime to make up for it. But overall, just looking at the big picture, just that game itself, it was like they went out on Monday Night Football and they played hard.
Yeah.
They didn't win, but they played hard. And that's all you can really ask for. So we're going to see the effort, I think, Sunday against the Steelers. Is it enough? We'll have to see, because I think that Mr. Pickens left some bulletin board material after the last game. So
that's a good point. I like that. Now, let me ask you this. We're talking about, the Browns playing hard. Let's talk about Hard Knocks because I saw something right before we came on air. I know you said you saw the episode on Hard Knocks. I just specifically want to talk a little bit about the little moment that they're sharing on some of these Pat McAfee show of the offensive line coach really talking up his offensive line and Jameis Winston, calling him chief in the meeting, using a lot of profanity. And talking about these guys, playing a hell of a game. And it was very,
I've heard worse. I've heard a lot worse.
Yeah, absolutely. I just thought it was inspiring. At the same time, you can really see. I mean, they're working their tails off, and it was it was an interesting take. I didn't know if you said, Lou, you saw it. I don't know if Steve saw that.
I have not. I've only seen the bits and pieces on social media.
Yeah, what did you think, Lou, of watching the episode? Did they have a lot about the Brownies, or did they?
Not a lot. They were heavy on the Steelers and Bengals game because they were playing each other, and that was a Sunday afternoon game. They were able to get the footage in for the Tuesday night episode. They showed some of the Ravens, Eagles. Yeah, they talked a little bit about the Browns getting ready for Monday night.
Okay,
that's mostly what they did. But if you listen to the coaches in their meetings, they all sound the same.
Yeah,
they all do. That's what's so funny. They all swear and they all get mad. They get emotional. It's the same. It's like, well, I remember during Stefanski's press conference, he got asked I think it was by Grossi. Tony Grossi asked him, like, was that staged? And he looked at him. He's like, no. Yeah. He just got the way Stefanski just like, oh, come on, Tony. It was like, really? And he got asked that. It was like, well, he goes, no, it wasn't. No.
Steve, what was your when you look at all these teams right now, like Baltimore, for example, they have a really late bye this week. Like they have their bye this week. I don't know if you guys saw that, but I mean, we're looking at these teams and the way the Browns players are talking about being spoilers now. what are you keen on? I mean, is that something that, I mean, obviously that's all we can play for. Do you expect that from the players and the Browns, that these last 5 games that are playing the spoiler role?
I do.
Yeah,
I do. Grant Delpit said we're playing for pride and the love of the game. If we can't have it, we're going to make sure you can't have it. I love that quote. And that's the attitude they have. So I'll take it. I'll take it. And, you don't need to hype these guys for the Steelers. I mean, come on.
No,
it's the Steelers.
I think like Greg Newsome and Grant Delpit will be ready for Pickens.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That's yes. Sorry, Steve.
No, because he almost got ejected from the Bengals game. I don't know if you saw that.
He
did. Yeah, I mean, because he had to do this, or it was really stupid. It was really dumb.
It's Pickens. What do you expect?
Yeah, I
mean, he is. Yeah. He's your annual Steeler idiot wide receiver. I mean, they're talented as hell, but they're morons.
Right.
They always draft some idiot.
Yeah. Well, and I know the Steelers.
It's like they're at the combine and they go, "Are you going to do and say stupid things?" "Yes, sir, I am." "We're going to draft you."
Yes. So tell me, if you're in front of the media and they ask you for a loaded question, how are you going to handle that? I'm just
going to give us a hint that it's going to be bulletin board material.
Yeah.
Just say like, "Listen, guys."
Hey, going back to, I know you mentioned it, both you guys, our run game. We don't have
is lacking to say
very lacking. Yeah. I've seen different things from different people about, looking at things for next year and then talking also about Nick Chubb now. And, I know he's not the same guy. I know he's coming off this knee injury, but I was, I had some, what's the word? I'm thinking I was encouraged when I saw Nick Chubb sprinting down the field and got that tackle. When you were talking about at the very end of the game,
the last interception
got intercepted.
Yeah.
He and Jerry Jeudy.
Him and Jerry Jeudy. I saw that and went, okay.
Yeah, right.
I like that.
They're playing hard. Right.
Yeah, I didn't notice that until after they showed highlights of that. But that encouraged me. And maybe, to be honest, and maybe I'm completely off base here, but I think like Nick Chubb coming off this injury, the mental side of it, and I know he wants to give it his all, but he's had 2 huge, massive injuries to the knee. I know he's given it his all, but maybe doing some of these plays and going after that tackle at the end, maybe that'll help him a little bit. I mean, the Browns offensive line, like you mentioned, Steve, it's not very good.
It's aging. It hasn't played well. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just don't want to give up on Nick Chubb, and maybe that's me just being that
I agree.
fan,
I agree.
He's in what year? Aren't these guys in year 7? Right? Isn't Nick Chubb in year 6? Is it 6 or 7 now? 7. And it's 8 for Miles, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Miles Garrett. Yeah. Hey guys, let's pause for a quick break. We are the Fanatical Elz Network. I do want to give a shout out again. Our sponsor, Hemisphere Coffee Roasters. Please go to our link on the X page and buy some of our coffee. We get back 15% of any sales. We appreciate you following us here. We've got Lou here and you got Steve. Lou does his Burning River Browns talk show on Friday nights. Also the Stirring the Pot show with myself on Mondays. Steve's got his Dog Pound South a show on Mondays, usually following games on Sunday. These guys have a plethora of information, and they both write for Fans First, who sponsor us. We love Fans First, even though the group is supported and started, or the crust, or that's not the right word. They were
founded by Steeler fans.
Founded by Steeler fans.
Yes.
Thanks to Jeff.
I
and all those guys.
I was a guest on one of their shows right after the draft too.
Yes.
They wanted an AFC North.
Yes.
Kind of roundtable about the draft.
Yeah, and so they're great. So thank you very much. So we're going to pause.
They were cool.
Yeah, we're going to pause here for a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. And we're back, and we are all quiet. So thank you very much. If you are watching us on YouTube or the X, please listen to us on Apple, on Spotify. We get a little percentage of the download when you listen to us. We get a couple pennies from each one of those, and let me tell you, those pennies add up to where we can go buy that Happy Meal for our young daughter, or we can go buy a pizza in like three months time. So thank you for listening to us. We really appreciate your support. Listen, we know, I know, Lou knows, and Steve knows. And listen, we listen to other podcasts. There's a lot of other Browns podcasts that are really good guys. There's a lot of people out there that are talking about the Browns, and we appreciate all of you turning into us and listening to us. We're Browns fans just like you guys, and so we appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate it. Hey, I was gonna tell you when I was watching the Monday Night Football game. I had one ear to the TV commentators, and I was listening to another podcaster because it triggered a memory. But I'm not going to say his name. He wasn't with the Fanatical Elz network, but it was a watch along, and it was just so funny because he's sitting there eating, and then like Dustin Hopkins misses that first field goal attempt.
Yes,
what he said was so funny because he went. Well, he said effing kicker, but he actually said the F word.
Right.
The way he said it, I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, God. It's like, do you see him getting replaced next year?
Hopkins?
Hopkins.
No, they just signed him to a contract extension.
Yeah, I don't. Well, in the thing that was surprising me, even when I watched the Eagles and Ravens game on Sunday, was Justin Tucker had a horrible game.
Oh, he did.
He's had a horrible season.
Yeah, that's rare for him. He's usually pretty good. Yeah,
it started last year.
So I'm like, is this the case of the yips for this guy, or is he just going to?
No, he's just getting old. He's been around forever.
Yeah, he's a very reliable kicker, though. I mean, well, I was at the Steelers-Browns game, the last one, and I couldn't believe it. I went on live with John here.
Yeah.
And I came on live, and the wind was howling and the snow was blowing.
It was
And in the first possession, Tomlin went for like a 48-yard field goal or something like that. I'm going like, what? Even people are like, what the hell is he? He's not going to make it. It wasn't even close.
Yeah.
It wasn't even near it. It was like, dude, you just gave us that. Why didn't you punt it and pin us down at the end? I mean, I don't understand why you did that.
Cade York,
because it was Thursday night and it was a divisional opponent, and Mike Tomlin has brain freezes every Thursday night against divisional opponent. It's like that penalty at the end of the game. He should have declined it, and it would have been 4th and 2, but he gave the Browns
another
3rd and 7 and 2 downs to make the first down. I mean,
and then they were complaining. They were complaining. They said it should have been intentional grounding. And I don't. But they didn't call it. If they didn't call it, they didn't call it. I was like, all right, I'm trying to. Yeah, but I know what you're saying. They should have.
Yeah.
He declined it.
First, he declined it, and then he accepted it. There's your Mike Tomlin Thursday night moment.
So let's hope he has a Sunday afternoon moment for us.
Let me ask you this. I talked about this off air, but I want to get your opinions on this because I think it's something a lot of Browns fans talk about as a loyal fan base. This team has
loyalty to a fault,
has struggled, right? We have 4 winning seasons since 99. Stefanski has, like we've mentioned, 2 in that span.
And
as fans, as you, Lou, and as you, Steve, as fans, as and so many of us, what continues to bring you personally back and to follow this team? Because outsiders, and we get a lot of attention for this from the national media. Why? And it was I saw some, people have various takes on it, but one of the things I should bring this up too, and I just want your overall view about being a fan, but I saw a funny thing. And I think it was I'm trying to think who shared what my colleague at work shared this with me. It was on TikTok or whatever. And it was like a psychologist who had these 2 Browns fans recently, and they were talking about the various mascots that the Browns have. So you have the Browns helmet, you have the elf, and you have the dog. And it was just a funny little 2-minute bit, but it showcased like, hey, we have actually like 3 mascots. Why do you have 3? Why not just 1? And it was just a funny take they had on it. But I guess I just want your overall take. Lou, let's start with you. Why are you always why do you come back to this team when they have had a lot more losing seasons than winning ones?
Well, I said this going back because I'm 51 and I've been a fan probably earliest I can remember was the Cardiac Kids year. I was 7. Okay. My father was a Browns fan. My grandfather was a Browns fan. I'm a Browns fan. My daughters are going to be Browns fans. It's something that's in our DNA. It's in our blood. We're very loyal. And when people that unless you grew up in Northeast Ohio and you were born and raised here, it's kind of one of those things you can only understand it by that. And some people, like when I've done other podcasts in other markets, they'd be like, they try to ask me a same question, but in a different way and almost in a more nastier way. Like, how hard is it to be a Browns fan? I said, it's not hard at all. I said, no, I told him, I said, right. Wait a second. Wait. 8 world championships, 18 Hall of Famers, the only fan base to fight to keep a team and win in the history of sports. Look what we've done. Look, we just feel our loyalty is going to be rewarded eventually. That's just kind of what it is. We just
and those finer moments and those little moments that when they do happen.
Yeah, well,
Browns fans,
the most fun times I had this season at Huntington Bank Field, the Baltimore game and the Pittsburgh game. We won them both. I was there. One was in a snowstorm. One was in a much better weather. It was much better weather for Baltimore, but that stadium was rocking. People were happy. The mood was great. Jameis Winston went out and played a great game. We could run the ball. The offensive line played good. That was, we beat Baltimore. I think it was like 24-19. Now, what was the score?
Yeah, it was 24-19.
We beat.
You were right.
24-19 for the Steelers.
29-24.
29-24. Yeah, and we came out, and like I said, when you have those moments and you feel great when you're going home, and everything, you're on that rapid and you're just going home.
But you talk about it too, like for us, especially in our age bracket, in our age group, and maybe this is more significant, is like the Cardiac Kids and like the game with the double overtime Jets game. These are moments that Browns fans really are. It was a profound feeling because we, for us young fans. Teams, and I guess Steve, I want to get your take too, because I know you've got a few more years on me, and you've talked a little bit about
this young man.
Steve, you've talked a little bit about
this young man up here,
about Jim Brown and seeing him when you were a youngster. Talk about that and just
Leroy Kelly,
and just your fandom.
Well, my dad always had tickets. He worked for one of the large accounting firms in Cleveland. And when the weather was nice, he'd take my brother and I. I remember listening to the 64 championship game against the Colts on the radio because Art Modell was too cheap to have it shown live on TV. He wanted it to be a sellout. He tape delayed it, basically.
Okay.
So if you didn't go to the game, you had to listen to it on the radio. I remember listening to that on the radio. I mean, I tell people, if you're born in Northeast Ohio, you're a Browns fan.
Yeah.
And, because especially when you live in a city that has another NFL team, people don't understand that concept. The Titans are relatively new. They started playing in Nashville in 1999, and their fan base really hasn't experienced the roller coaster ride of a team that's been around since 1946.
Yeah.
So, they'll say, how can you still be a Browns fan? Why aren't you a Titans fan? And I just go, I was born in Cleveland. I was born in Northeast Ohio. And if you want me to try to explain it to you, you're just not going to understand because you asked me that question. So, and it's a generational thing. It's just, I like to tell people I'm invested in the Browns. I have been all my life.
Yeah.
My wife says that she's a Browns fan by default, and it's my fault. And because she was born in Chicago and she grew up in Tampa, but she's not really invested in those teams. She's invested with me, and it also helps that I'm an original member of the Middle Tennessee Browns backers.
Yeah.
And I was president for 15 years. That was formed here in Nashville in 1988.
Are you there?
So
yes, we are.
Yeah. We're here.
He froze on me. He froze on me.
And you know, to run a Brownsbacker club, I applaud anybody listening out there or watching who is a president or board member of a Brownsbacker club in this country. You have my utmost respect because it ain't easy.
It's like being a president of HOA.
You got to find a bar that's going to show it, and they have to commit to showing it. And they never believe you when the first game comes around and the place is packed. And they're just, you know, and they're
shocked. They're shocked.
They're understaffed.
Well, and that's
their first game because they just don't understand.
If they were short staffed, they'd all be midgets. So
So I mean, no, and Stephen, I don't know, Lou, if you've been in that spot, but I mean, I was the president of the group for.
I was never president, but I went to the.
But Raleigh, I was in Wichita. I mean, I was in Wichita, Kansas, in the middle of nowhere, in Wichita, and we'd get a good 30 to 40. You know, on you know, now they get even more than that. They've really created a following, and a lot of these people are. Like a lot of transplants, you know, they're from Northeast Ohio, but the current president of the Wichita Brownsbackers, to his credit, Josh, he's not from Cleveland, he's not from Northeast Ohio. He just loves the loyalty of this fan base and has become a lifelong Browns fan. And Lou, like you, I mean, his two kids are being raised. You know, they wear the gear. They're 7-8 years old, and went and saw them back in October, and it's good to see. I hope, I guess for me, I worry that the fans, I mean, I think you and all of us are going to be fans, but like moving forward, our young children are like your kids, you know, if we experience these losing seasons, it's important that the Browns find a way to start winning. You know, and to be that consistency.
Well, because Brownsbacker clubs are very family oriented. I used to always say, you know, we give away kid prizes before we did our halftime raffle, and you know, future designated drivers. Everybody gets a gift. I mean, you know, and it's there's others way it's unique. I had a really close friend. He passed away of cancer. His name was Mike. He was born in Wichita. Adopted by a family in Memphis, and he became a Browns fan when the Cleveland Browns, I don't know if they drafted him or signed him. There was this wide receiver from Memphis. Back then it was Memphis State, now it's University of Memphis. His name was Mike Wright. He was a kick returner when Dino Hall was the punt returner. He was like the number 5 wide receiver. And Mike became a Browns fan because that was his favorite college player. He never went to Cleveland. He knew more about the draft than anybody I ever met in my entire life. When the Browns signed a player who was like a 4-year pro in week 13, he'd go, Steve, I remember when he was drafted, I was really high on him. And he'd go bring out some stats. And I go, Mike, how do you remember this crap?
How does he know this?
Well, you know, I'm a Browns fan. I'm always hoping the team improves and finds the right. Well,
do you remember Wembley or Cameron Wembley?
Cameron Wembley.
He's from he grew up in Wichita. So when we were, you know, I was the president back then. He graduated just literally across the street from the sports bar we would watch the games at. So there would be friends and family that would come to those Wichita games back in the day. So let's transition real quick. I want to get your takes on the game coming up. Again, we talked a little bit about Pickens and some different things. The Browns can only play spoilers, but where do the Browns have the advantage? Where do they have the disadvantage? And what are your expectations? Lou, let's go with you first. Kind of in this game on Sunday.
Advantage versus disadvantage. I don't think.
Where do we have the advantages? Where do we have the disadvantages?
Have an advantage was I don't think they have an answer for Myles Garrett.
No, they don't.
I think that's one big advantage. Another one is our secondary is better than their receivers. That's another one too. So defensively,
isn't that funny to say though? I mean, isn't it funny? I'm sorry. I just like we lose Amari Cooper. I mean, everybody, and I love Amari, but you know, now you're kind of seeing some of this youth. And Elijah Moore. My God, Elijah Moore had 6 catches for 111 yards in the game on Monday night.
there's a possibility Tillman could play, but he might not.
Yeah, let's wait and see.
Yeah, so I mean, Tillman
But
could be useful in that
I
game,
don't think so.
but I'm thinking wise, if Jameis doesn't turn the ball over, we have a shot at winning.
Yeah,
We have a shot. We have a
bottom line.
legitimate shot. Yeah, that's really. We don't turn the ball over.
You just don't want to throw an interception like Watson did in week 2.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is Go ahead, Steve.
Well, the running game. If we look back on that Thursday night game, they had 85 yards of rushing, and most of that was in the first half before the weather turned bad. I mean, Chubb was averaging 3.3 yards a carry, and Jerome was over 4. So they were able to run the ball against the Steelers. But with this, the evolution of the passing game since then, I mean, it's just starting to click with Winston and Judy, and Winston and Elijah Moore, and Winston and Njoku. So
Michael Woods,
yeah,
I think, right? Yeah,
you bring in a guy who hasn't played at all he played in preseason, but he kept getting hurt.
Yeah,
and he comes in for 43 yards, and drew that pass interference in the end zone. So the offense is working better. They got to run the ball, and they got to keep running the ball. The less Winston throws, the lower the probability of a turnover. On defense, Lou is exactly right. They have no answer for Myles Garrett. And I warned you about that Denver game, John, that he would probably be a non-factor because of the altitude.
Yeah.
And his asthma and the COVID he caught back in 2020. But, their inside offensive linemen are great. And they have 2 rookies. They've only allowed like 2 sacks.
The Steelers, right?
The Steelers. Their tackles have allowed 14 sacks.
Yeah.
So what you want to do is have the same basic game plan they did that Thursday night. I know Schwartz is going to mix it up a little bit, but it also helps if Juan Thornhill is back. He had a hell of a game that Thursday night game. He really did. He was
Will he be back?
Denver. He was limited in practice today.
Did you hear, by the way, guys, Lou or Steve, the press conference with Schwartz, and he talked, and I like this when coaches really, because they're coaches, they look at things a little differently than us fans. But like, there were 2 series in the Bronco game where Browns, if you recall, right before, and we touched on this a little bit, Lou, on Tuesday night, when Bo Nix was back there in the end zone, and the Browns had him, and they were talking like, okay, he's a little rattled, and then he throws that dart,
90-yard pass.
Yeah. So we blew it there, and there was another possession too where Schwartz was saying how we kind of pinned them deep and thought we had them, and we didn't. There was basically, it was a difference of a touchdown and then another 3-point. I mean, there was a 12. Basically, Schwartz said there was 12 points in the game that should have not been, and that it would have given the Browns. I mean, a lot of what if
you think about the 2 pick sixes.
Well, obviously, right? Yeah.
So
where does this team, Lou, have it? Where are we at a disadvantage going into this game? I mean, a hot Russell Wilson.
Our offensive line against their defensive line could be a disadvantage, and our offensive tackles against, because Highsmith's supposed to be back now, along with that. So that's where we're at a disadvantage, I think, including Cam Hayward. He's still, as old as he is, man, he is productive. That Ohio State Buckeye defensive tackle they had, he's got to be in his like mid-30s by now. So
do you agree, Steve?
Oh yeah, wholeheartedly. Highsmith is back. Also, if you look at the Steelers injury reports, there's a lot of resting by veterans. They're probably the healthiest they've been in a while. But do
you think TJ
like our wide receivers against their defensive backs? But Conklin, like I keep saying, Conklin can handle TJ Watt. He has his worst games against Jack Conklin, and Conklin's our best offensive lineman right now.
And talking to
Fetty, that's who I'm worried about. And the Steeler linebackers are just getting turnovers like crazy. So I watched that Cincinnati game. My God, Now I know why the Bengals are so bad.
Did they have any
defense
in that game?
Absolutely stinks, and they keep turning the ball over.
Is that what was happening?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Even though they got a pick 6 to start the game, it didn't matter. Yeah.
Well, the weather's supposed to be nice, right, guys? Lou,
that's what I heard. Yeah.
It's 50 to be degrees. You know, it's going to be decent weather. And Jim Nance is going to be doing
game.
Is it Jim Nance and Tony Romo?
Yeah.
Yep.
So that'll be, we
most
haven't
of the United States.
We haven't fared very well when they've broadcast, have we?
We're due.
Right. No, it's a weird season because our record is so porous. There's we can't.
When you start out 1-7, you're like,
fuck.
You're like, fuck.
Well, right. No, it's true.
Well, the thing is, did you hear what Troy Aikman said one night? He goes, guys, I wonder what this team's record would be if Whitson would have played the whole season.
He also said without the albatross of Deshaun Watson.
Albatross,
I caught that.
And then Nathan Zagura comment, within the confines of the Berea. So like looking forward, like going into the next year, we've already been kind of touching on this, but
that's true, Andre, and they're due.
Oh, they have not. Thanks, Andre, for that.
33-13. It was a primetime game.
Sunday night game. It was a Sunday night game.
That was the game that, what was his name? The wide receiver who used to be a Georgia quarterback. He left the sideline before the game was even over. He was in the locker room. Yeah.
This is the last time the Browns
Hines Ward, was it? Was it Hines Ward?
Hines Ward, thank you. Yeah, they showed him. He did. Yeah. He was so upset.
Was that the game? That was the last time we played. We won a game in Pittsburgh.
A regular season game. We beat him in the playoffs in Pittsburgh.
You're right.
Yeah, 2020.
Right. Okay, so now I lost my train of thought. You got me all jumbled up here. No, so just going into like next year, and we're talking about all these things like advantages, disadvantages. Do you we're looking at drafts? People are talking about, what are we going to do with Watson? I mean, what are we going to do with Watson? Is he just going to sit?
He's going to sit. I think the divorce is happening, but I think they're going to figure out something. I don't know if it's going to be a buyout or something, because for Zagura to say what he said publicly and to be allowed to say that means it's over. That just means
game after he got hurt, they were already trying to figure out a way to get out of this mess. And they technically can get rid of him in 2026. They can make him a June 1st cut and split the cap hit over 2026 and 2027.
Now, Steve, did you hear this too, that they told DTR before the Bengals game when he got hurt, is they be ready to play if Watson sucks? You heard that too? Yeah. That was pretty much it. They're at the end of the rope with him because they gave him enough rope. Well, you can't control. I like that saying, when you can't control what other people do, but you can always give them enough rope to hang themselves with. That's pretty much what it was.
Yes. I'm hearing the owner is willing to bite the bullet and take the cash hit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dude, do you see how much money he's spending
now? You're saying now.
For next year.
Next year, June 1st, 2026, he could get cut and they could split the cap hit over.
Well, now
between 26 and 27. Now, what they're going to do next year, I don't know. But
June
with this kind of injury,
he could be on the pup list with the injury.
Yeah, he's going to be on the pup list when the season starts.
Yeah,
and they have changed their philosophy for next year. Last year it was, what can we do to help Deshaun Watson become Deshaun Watson? Now they're going to do, what can we do to win next year?
Well, no, I know,
and that's a big difference.
Yes, we've differed on this, and I hear that take now. I think I've been arguing for a while, even before this season started. I think that, I could not, and especially as the season got going, we can't have this guy back. And I know what you're saying from the team aspect, but now you've just said, they're going to
figure out a way. They're working every scenario and have been. Don't let a Cleveland media say, well, they're kicking their can until the season's over. No, that's not.
No, but I want to give some props to. I mean, I know fans don't, and I know you and I disagree on this topic a little bit. I know that fans don't run the team or whatever, but I think
God.
but I think that what I'm getting at is I believe, and I just do. I think that I don't know. I think fans knowledgeable fans do see what they're seeing, and that's what I say, and that's all I've been arguing is because I mean it was just I don't know personally. Watson just didn't have it, and he's not going to have it. I'm glad we're going to hopefully move forward. Is all.
It's sometimes you just cut your losses and move on.
Yeah,
and that's
they'll figure out a way. I have complete faith in his front office.
Do you see them drafting a quarterback this year, Steve?
Yeah.
Do you see them drafting one?
I don't know.
I could see it maybe a Carson Beck, maybe the Georgia quarterback, but I don't know. I think I could see them bringing Winston back for a 2-year deal. But
yeah, that's the thing. Everybody's complaining. Winston's playing so well that he's going to price it out of the Browns market. But on the other hand, you got to look at this. Cleveland's probably the only team that can say, "Hey, you can be the starter day one."
Yeah.
No other team is going to sign him as a starter. They're going to sign him as a backup. They're going to do like a Sam Darnold or that. Then they're not going to do a Kirk Cousins. So Cleveland can say, "Jameis, you've got the best opportunity to start here."
You heard this here first. We will not start a rookie quarterback out of college day one.
No.
Season game 1, season 2025. We will not do it.
All right, guys.
To you that.
Final Lou, final thought, final takes tonight you want to share out. I know you got a lot coming up. You got a Burning River Browns show coming up tomorrow night. You got you're producing a daily article every day. I know you just talked off air, and I know this is a hot topic about the dome.
Yeah. But you guys aren't local up here. The Cleveland Browns released an economic study from a real estate consulting firm. They released that the late hours this morning. So I wrote an article about it, and pretty much saying like this is how much revenue it'll generate, this is how many jobs it'll create, this is what events it'll bring in people from out of state and from out of the area. And they were explaining, because they said just the 3 events that were at Huntington Bank Field in 2024, which was WWE SummerSlam, non-football events, I should say.
Sure.
Was the Billy Joel and Rod Stewart concert.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Rolling Stone had a concert too.
Yes.
So they said estimated 45% of the people that came to those were from outside of the state of Ohio.
Oh.
So they're estimating with the dome being built and having events there, whether it's a concert, NCAA Final Four, a WrestleMania, Super Bowls, they're estimating 65% will come in from outside of Ohio. And it'll bring traffic. It'll bring people. They're estimating about 5,400 jobs will be created. Mm-hmm. They're estimating about $1 billion to Northeast Ohio a year. Now, the county said, well, we don't want to use taxpayer money for this, but there's no number set for what taxpayer money will be even used, if any, at this point. So it's kind of a back and forth. Now, Daryl Ryder just tweeted something that was interesting, and I knew this was true, but Daryl kind of confirmed it for me. The Cuyahoga County officials are refusing to meet with the team.
Right.
They're not even meeting with the team. So it's like
I saw that earlier too. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's like, guys, really. So and I will be honest. I don't know, Steve. I don't know if you saw my article. There's a local reporter up here in Cleveland, Brent Larkin, did an editorial about it, and I did a counter argument to it. My counter argument. Did you see how many clicks I got?
Yes, I did.
It was through the roof.
Yeah.
Because I basically tore this guy apart. Yeah, I read it on the story in the pod.
You did.
I was like, let me read it. I read his article. I read mine. Mine had links and facts to it. He had some guy that was retired from a professor for over 10 years, and he just said, "Oh, it's bad." That's all he said. I was like, well, what? Where? How? Where's the data? So it's like. And I haven't made a point.
Listen to the show tomorrow night. The Burning River Browns talk.
I'll go off. I'm being behaved tonight.
Yes, you are. It's steady Eddie. Steady Eddie. Steve.
Any politician in Cleveland that doesn't want to build this thing, you're welcome to come on my show.
Yes,
I will be happy to have you on, and I will look you in the eye and tell you that you are 100% full of shit.
Yes. All right. Yes.
I will do it.
Okay.
As a taxpayer, I'll gladly do it.
Yes.
Okay.
Steve, final thoughts on the night. Do you have any articles coming out on Fans First?
Yeah, I'll have my preview article, which will probably be out Saturday. I finished it. Jeff usually puts it out on Saturday. Dog Pound South show on Monday after the game.
Good shit.
We might do a pregame show, possibly. I'm going to be around the house Sunday. So that's it. As for the Steelers game, Browns have to do what they did Thursday, pressure Russell Wilson, hit him after he throws. That is the one thing I love that Thursday night. They just kept hitting him and hitting him and hitting him. And that'll get into Russell's brain.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Guys,
also, I like to watch him hit a Steelers quarterback.
Yeah.
We will have a pregame show Sunday before the game. We'll let everybody know when that'll be. Follow us again on the X, on YouTube, on Facebook. Please download us on Apple, Spotify, anywhere you listen to podcasts. We are there. We are the Fanatical Elz, the Elz at Elz Network. Please follow along. Tell all your Browns fans. I know we're competing for your listens because there's a lot of other Browns podcasters out there, but we appreciate those of you who have been listening to us. So thank you so much. Guys, have a great night. Go Brownies.
Go Browns.
Here we go, Brownies. Here we go.
Bring you all the latest in Browns news.
Oh, that's me on there again. Hold on a second. We don't want to hear me.
No. You don't hear your voice.
Man,
we just heard your voice.
I know. Jeez, I got such an annoying voice.
What are you, double dipping?
Yeah.